Welcome everybody. We have 3 piles for you to choose from today. The topic of today's pick a card reading will be, what is it you are working for? And I did try to get clarification on whether it was like, what are you working towards, or why it is that you're working towards something. And they reiterated it is actually what it is you are working for. So with that in mind, if you can take a moment to choose whichever pile out of the 3 groups that we have available today that you are the most drawn to, and then you can use the timestamps in the description box to get started. So with group 1, we have the New Era Tarot and the Vanilla Bean Lip Balm. Group 2, we have Right Away and the Strawberry Lip Balm. Group 3, we have the Pagan Tarot. And we have the Watermelon Lip Balm. So whichever floats your boat, and we'll get stuck into group 1. Oh man. Okay. Okay, welcome group 1. If you chose the Vanilla Bean Lip Balm and the New Era Elements Tarot, then this will be your reading for today on what it is that you're working for. The first thing that we had like the 2 of Pentacles come out, and they said that that's basically, that one card could kind of sum up this whole reading for group 1. So we'll delve into it and sort of see what details that we can get, what might be helpful, and yeah, what this is all about. So 2 of Pentacles, it's usually like it can be like a balancing act. It can be like the ebb and flow of life. It can be like trying to keep things afloat, or it can just be like making sure that we don't drop the ball and all that sort of stuff. And it can be like, I'm hearing menial tasks. So it could just be like making sure that we're keeping up with what we have on our plate, or responsibilities, or things like career versus family. It doesn't really matter what that example is for you. That's just a very, like, a pretty straightforward example that like a lot of people would kind of understand the concept of. And the Pentacles, it can be things like, it can be a person, it could be like a child. So for some of you, could have like a new baby or something like that, new family member, or even if it is just a pet, it could be like a new what is it, like a new job, a new career, skill building. So like, and when I say skill building, I mean like hands-on skill building. So like it could be like learning some sort of craft, but Pentacles to me, like, it can be material wealth and possessions, but Pentacles to me can also actually be like a really great symbol of like stability and security and peace and health as well. So it really depends what it is that's actually going on in your life. And so looking at this particular 2 of Pentacles card that we have here today, I feel like, I don't know, I kind of wonder if some of you are like learning tarot, just because of the fact that it's like, when I started out doing these videos, I would kind of say what cards that I would have come up. And I know that sometimes if you're like a person who actually does this, then it can be helpful if you understand it if you're like not watching the video, if you're just listening while you're like doing chores around the house or something like that, wherever you are, out and about, and you can't actually watch the screen, sometimes it can be really helpful to have like the cards read out so that you understand what the reader's talking about. And sometimes it can kind of build on what it is they're talking about and push, it can kind of like lead the reading in help build on the direction that it's heading in. And so some of you, it could be like, how do you incorporate this new thing in your life? For some of you, it could be a hobby, although like usually I would get hobby in a different area. But what it could say to me is that if you are building on this hobby, it could be like a practical skill. But it could also be something that you're actually doing for, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's like not a passion or inspired hobby, because it could be. You could be doing it for like material wealth and whatnot, but it could just be that like I keep coming back to that hands-on, practical kind of stuff. So for some of you, it actually could be like a grounding thing. Like, so pentacles can be like representative of the earth and doing the earthly things and the 3D kind of human roles, and I don't know, the things that we do, like gardening. Pentacles, perfect. I don't know why. I'm just gonna move on. Okay, anyway, and so for some of you, like, because I keep talking about like the practical hands-on stuff, and anyone who's watched my videos for a little while knows that I reference quite a lot about like getting into your hands and out of your head, which can be helpful, and that can kind of sometimes keep things in check a little bit, and it can be really grounding. And it's kind of like the balance between work and play as well, or like responsibility versus, you know, leisure and whatever. However it is that you want to look at it. For some of you, I do feel like you're like coming out of some sort of winter. Jesus, what was that? I don't know if you guys heard that. I just had like something knock over outside. Anyway, we've got all the noises today. There's like blinds flapping in the background, and we've got like the neighbors mowing their lawn. It's all happening. Anyway, and maybe that's like something, I don't know if that could resonate for some of you, where there's just like a lot on. Anyway, so some of you could be coming out of like a period of winter. And so I know, like, if you're in the, well, like right now in Australia, where we're in winter, but I know a lot of my viewers aren't even in Australia. So kudos to like hanging out with me during the like, you know, bearing with me through the accent and slang and stuff. I try to speak clearly, but anyway, now I'm just like going on a tangent. So this winter might actually be more of like a metaphorical, is that what I'm trying to say? Metaphysical, metaphorical, I don't even know, all the things. Like, you guys, I actually wonder if this group, if you are like balancing, it's so weird for me that pentacles could actually show up as like a point of spirituality, but sometimes that's something that kind of happens, right? Is like all our physical needs are met, like safety and security and all of that, and we've like got that community and stuff, and it's like just enough security and safety and stability for us to be able to kind of like look outside of the scope of like survival and, you know, living week to week or building on the next 6 or 12 months, where you kind of transcend time. You start to step into a world or a life or a mentality, and you can be very mindful, but you can look at what it is that you want to achieve in your life. And this can accrue to pentacles, but like in a different way, where it's like, and what am I working towards? What is like the overall goal here, right? If we're like doing evaluation the way that we can and we should, what do I want to do here? Am I just working to achieve a paycheck that will not really change much for the next 20 years, and my skills won't really be developed, and I'm just kind of working for someone else? And, you know, all the things that we can like think and run through our minds, and that's okay. And it doesn't matter if you are that person and you're comfortable and you enjoy that, and that's just like what suits you, and you don't want too much more, like in terms of responsibility and stress and stuff. There's like nothing wrong with wanting that life, okay? But I wonder if some of you have been contemplating like a legacy, like what it is you want to achieve in your life, even if it's not something that you leave behind for like children to kind of follow on to. How do you impact the world? And what does that look like? And what are the steps that you can take working towards it? And how do you balance the beginnings of working towards, maybe it's not the beginnings for some of you, it's like, maybe, I don't know what that looks like. Yeah, but are you like wanting to work towards building towards like a bigger picture here, as well as like, you know, whatever your initial setup is? So like maybe some of you are actually still employed and working for someone, and some of you are like, while you're doing that, you're wanting to kind of start like a very small business on the side, but like maybe there's a little bit more significance there, or I don't know, it's like real world impact. I keep coming back to it has like a physical real world impact and great significance, whatever this is. And it does, I'm hearing that it brings hope and joy, which is also not like really pentacles, right? Like I would think hope and joy would come from kind of like, depending how you look at it, like it could be the fire or the water elements, but it's like that stability is birthing things for you. And it's like learning how to juggle the new prospects, like what is it on the horizon, how do I do this, how do I keep up with it. But going back to we're kind of jumping around here a little bit, so if you bear with me and we get through this, hopefully you get something here that's like helpful and resonates for you, right? So coming out of that winter, it's kind of like for some of you, even if it's not actually been winter time, even though winter time itself can kind of be like a symbol of like hibernation. I always think of like you know, when it's like snowing and like animals want to go into hibernation and things like that. But for some of you, if it's not actually winter or you're not coming out of winter, it's like there's been kind of a wintering of like your soul or a wintering of your energy or something like that. And so if that's the case, it's kind of like spirit may have had you tucked away in some type of like hermitude, or I don't know, it doesn't have to be like in hermitude energy, but they could have had you tucked away, they could have had you resting, they could have had you restoring or just conserving energy or something like that. Like you could have, some of you, it could have been on the other end of the scale where it's like you've just traversed like a really harsh winter, and like maybe it was like a real struggle, kind of like flipping between like what needs to come first. Like, you know, is it making sure that we have like a place, like a shelter, like a good, you know, longer term secure shelter versus like what do I this kind of makes me want to cry to think like people will be in that position. But like, you know, I guess it happens from time to time. For people that like have the opportunity to, you know, it's like eating versus having other necessities. So take a second, breathe through it, and we're going to keep going. For others of you, it's not like, you know, this, you just keep in mind that these readings, they exist like on a scale. So for some of you, this is like just, you know, it's maybe like touching on themes of like what's coming first, and it's maybe not that serious. And for others of you, maybe it could be that serious. But for others of you, you could just be dealing with like a tricky situation where the what comes first is maybe not actually like it's still like a case of what we have and what we don't have, or like what we go without and what we don't. But it could be kind of challenging in the face of adversity. Just bear with me, guys. I might just shut some windows and see if it will actually help with this background noise of the mower. I'm not sure if it's that loud to you all, but we'll just try to make it easier. Okay, so hopefully that should help with the background noise. So for some of you, it's not necessarily like what will we go without and what will we make sure that we have in terms of like physical things. But for some of you, it could actually be like, what are we going to make sure gets done? And it comes back to that kind of like priorities and the physical ability to do certain things. So, all right. But the seasons are changing and the weather changes and there are like new times ahead. And it's kind of like whatever has been happening for a while, I feel like you're coming out of that period. So it's like coming out of a period of winter, but I don't know what your winter looks like, okay? So that would be something that would be confirmation of your own knowing, or your like something that already is in existence in your life. Like, yeah, okay. Like I feel the need to say that it's not something that you should be like guessing. If this isn't resonating for you so far, then I would say like you're welcome always to like continue to listen on and just see if there is anything else, if you are like kind of just having trouble or kind of testing out your intuition and seeing if there is more that comes of it. But for those of you that are kind of wanting to save time and you don't want to go through like the mental exercise of trying to work it out, or the mental gymnastics, and it's not really like a point of learning for you, it's just you're trying to get your message and go, you could maybe use this as a point of reference to see if there is another pile that actually potentially group 2 that could be more helpful to you. But with that, we'll continue to move on. So There's something here I want to say that is like a point of separation. And I've had the point of separation reference coming up in previous readings for like the last, I don't know, I want to say like month or two, something. Maybe the last month specifically. And it's like this point of separation is like separating out. I'm hearing the wheat and the chaff. But it's kind of like separating out the winter to this like other perceived season. So whether that is like spring or summer or autumn, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. But a time that's warmer and a time that has more life to it, something like that, or more shelter. I don't know, maybe the sense of feeling warmer. And I don't know if that's being physically warmer or if that's a case of like warmer social supports in place or something like that. So it might not be a point of like having family and friends that are like emotionally supportive type of roles, although it could be. It seems to me that maybe some of you are maybe connected in with services like social support services that are actually very practical in nature and very helpful in those roles that they play. And so there's some sort of fracture or point of separation here that seems to be keeping you separate from these supports. And now I can't tell exactly what it is. All I know is that it like continues to, I don't know if I want to say it precedes you or, I don't know, what is it? It's like it continues past you, or it's not, I don't know. I'll see if I can get some more kind of on it. For some of you, I am getting something here about, I don't know if it's about like veins, airways. I don't know. I feel like, it could be nervous system. I don't really know what it is. I don't know. Whatever it was that I was touching on, I've kind of lost, so it's maybe not as important right now, or it's, we'll move on and we'll see if it comes back, and if it's important or it's meant to be known, it'll come back. So, I don't know. I was almost saying like thinking the lungs before, or the heart or something. I don't know. It's like an anatomical thing with the physical body, but that's okay. We'll move on. They're also kind of referencing like Capricorn is actually like, what do I want to say? I wonder for some of you if you do better when you're working. So some of you might be in a point where, I don't know if you're not working or if you are working. Maybe some of you, when you start to lack that little bit of structure and routine, it actually gets to a point where it, in terms, becomes like detrimental. So for some of you, it's like you might be in a place where you're like struggling to kind of keep up with that. But then the minute that you don't have it, you actually kind of, you slip through the cracks a little bit more than what you had beforehand. So for some of you, it's kind of like important to keep on that and try to, it's like not saying that it's easy, or that you should like, drive yourself insane trying to achieve things that might be outside of your scope of possibility. But if it's something that you have a little bit of control over, if you can like take those moments to make sure you're implementing, like keeping up with those things, even when there's perceived downtime, it's like that continued momentum in physical action of like that, we had that message at the start about menial tasks. So maybe for some of you, it's just like you have a day where you get a bit of downtime, and that's actually your time that you keep up with menial tasks and stuff. And you find that if you have a day where you like don't do the menial task and you just sit and rest all day, it can actually kind of flip on its head. I don't know if I'm speaking well. So it can just be like a little bit hard when like a bit's coming through, like the channeling. But like the trying to keep up with it is not, I get the energy that trying to keep up with like doing one physical task around the house of like, I don't know, maybe you're like doing your dishes or hanging clothes on a clothesline or something so that they dry. I don't know, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like doing that one job, even if you have like an easier day that's lighter in terms of like your chores or jobs that you do around the house. it's like having one small thing that you do each day is better, and having like a restful day for the rest of the day is better than having a day where you do no jobs, and things kind of are left to just go haywire or something. It's like, but it, you know, on the backs, that's what they're kind of saying. If you like need a rest, it's just like make it a day where you don't have to do a lot, if you need a rest, so that you still do like one small thing and then rest, but then like also not going crazy and just like forever doing. It's like there's got to be that balance and that happy medium, if that's something that you can do. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir right now, so bear with me, have compassion for yourself. Remember that I don't see the entirety of the picture of like what's going on for you. This is like as much as sometimes I get these very specific messages come through, it is still like a general reading in terms of it's not like a one-on-one reading. So the energies can be blended between different scenarios for people. So like what might seem really kind of harsh for one person is actually almost not enough for another person in some ways. So you've got to use like a sense of nuanced thinking when these messages come through. You got to hold yourself accountable with compassion, okay? And you've got to have that like realistic view of your picture and time to even like process. Like if you live a very busy life, unless you're like, I don't know, some people can do it, right? And they're very sharp, they're very clear, they're very balanced, and they don't really have to stop and take time to like be that way. And they can kind of perceive things through a filter of like being very realistic and neutral, and being able to actually extract and compartmentalize like a learning and being open to a different perspective or a different view or like thought-provoking ideas. And if you can do that, that's excellent. Like it just would save you so much time, okay, and on its own. And some of you, I feel like that is kind of your natural state when you're not going through this wintered phase or stage, whatever it is. You actually kind of are that brilliant. And then for others of you, or if you're not, like if maybe you are going through that wintered phase where it's like maybe you're used to being able to operate at that level, in terms of like, I don't know, just being on the ball. And it might just be not a good time for you to be like listening to too many readings or anything like that, unless you are getting like I said, like a private or personal reading is a little bit different. You're not trying to do the mental gymnastics and work out whether it's for you or not. And I kind of get this energy a little bit come through sometimes where it's like I can pick up on people not being sure whether a pile is for them or not, or maybe it's like they do choose the correct pile, but for whatever reason, they don't have that time or ability for introspection. So then they're kind of confused and question whether it is for them or not. Some people have kind of been conditioned into a certain way of thinking of like they could not possibly be certain things or a certain way. And when they get hit with like the reality, it's like the concept of the fact that they may have been kind of conditioned or something by a particular group of people, or even one very close person can still have a great impact. Just because even if that person doesn't do it on purpose and it's not intentional and it doesn't really have any like malintent behind it, you know, just having one very close person who is closed-minded or doesn't understand something can kind of be detrimental to our own growth at times. So it's like good to not box ourselves off to just having like one sole good, reliable person or relationship. And it's not saying that that person is bad. They just may not understand something themselves, or again, that thing of being too far removed from the relevance of your situation. So I don't really know. I kind of feel like with this group that I could like come over to your house and sit down and have a cup of tea with you and just talk to you for like a couple of hours about like the things that are going on in your life and like what, you know, what your experiences have kind of been and how they've played out in your life and what it is, where you're at now and what you think is like maybe affecting you still and where you go forward. And just kind of like in a... like an informal way where it's like I'm just like a quick clarifier. This is not going to happen, but this is the energy that I'm picking up on, okay? So just bear with me while we get through it. But I'm feeling, so some of you, you don't have like a social connection where you have the ability to do something like that. So some of you need, I don't know if it's a good friend. You don't have to be in cahoots all the time. You don't have to live in each other's pockets or anything like that. You can still have very separate lives, or only see each other every 6 months, and that would be okay. And just that like one very fulfilling conversation for a couple of hours could really do wonders for you, where you are kind of seen or validated, or even if it's none of those things, you're just listened to, but like very sincerely listened to. And that these people can kind of understand like the comings and goings and the ebbs and flows and ups and downs of life in general. Like, and you know, it's like a point of sharing too, because it's like, what's good for me is good for you. And it's like, it's that, what do people say? It's like a burden shared is a burden halved, or something like that. Same sort of concept, even if it's not the right saying. And like a problem shared is a problem halved. I don't know. But for others of you, if that's not accessible at this point in time, it's obviously something that we can work towards, where it's like, again, that safety and security and stability are the things that come first. So for some of you, it may not be all three. It may be like one point. You might already have the others in check, or there's one that's particularly more important to you than others. So this person has to be like emotionally safe, or there has to be a level of like stability where it's like, if they don't have stability in their own mind, they might not be in a position to be able to sit down and have a nuanced conversation with you in that way. For some of you, it seems to be like a point of reaching out to an old friend or a close friend or a dear friend that you maybe haven't spoken to for a while, where maybe they do have like Capricorn in their chart or Saturn. So I'm not really sure. Maybe they're like heavy earth, where they can be like really grounded and balanced, or I don't know. And you can kind of have that like very earthy, very homely kind of comforting discussion, and it might not really do anything, but it might just end up being kind of food for the soul. And some of you, so some of you don't have one of the, like, this person in your life, and some of you do, and you just haven't checked in a while, and you might not really think anything of it because maybe there's no real like crazy intense passion that's like drama filled and brings you in. But maybe this person, like I said, I think they could, one conversation in a span of 6 months could really be food for your soul and do wonders for just stability and peace in life in general. And this person could end up being potentially like a role model, or like a I'm hearing a phrase that I watch a lot of Just for the Chaos Witch. She uses a phrase really often about lead me to like the rock that is higher than I. And I don't know if I really mean it in the way that she generally says it, but like, I know, I just think of like, you know, Capricorn and like goats being these like incredible like climbers, where they just find themselves on these like, I don't know, crazy steep points of like rocky mountains and hills and things that like, I don't even know how they get there and how they stay there, but they do. And I don't know, it's like an incredible amount of like grit and determination and willpower, but like matched with abilities, and just like, I don't know how they do it, but they do it anyway. So I feel like that this person is probably, and this is like, for some of you, this energy could be like flipped, so just take it as it resonates. It could be like incredibly like traversed in just life in general, and that you've really had that ability to pull yourselves, climb, I don't know if that's the right way, like pull yourselves out of like really tricky situations. And so it's like what comes first to you now is peace, and that is like just the utmost, it's like your baseline now, okay? If it's not peaceful, it doesn't exist in your remit, and that's just where it's at. So I don't know if we got to the point of that without going through like a roundabout way of saying it, but hopefully that makes sense to you all in some way and is helpful. So there's like a sense here of like bridging the gap between maybe yourself and like humanity, and like how you're feeling about things in the world and your own like inner peace and stability. And so for some of you, I think we mentioned gardening already. Gardening could be like a really helpful thing. Gardening, I don't know, maybe like an underrated like therapy. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so we do have another card here. It's like the Nine of Swords in reverse, but the card's very graphic, so we're just gonna, you know, YouTube doesn't like that. But Nine of Swords. So it's like, it's still coming out of that that, because it is in reverse, it's like that point of coming out of that winter. And I'm actually like, now that I'm looking at it, like for some of you this winter could have left you kind of scarred. It may not have left you scarred, but you could have just like undergone a tremendous amount of like stress, or just, I don't even know, just like a ball of F that. Just like phenomenal snowballing problems, like one after another, just like constantly knocking you down, or like, I don't even know. It's like there could be a crazy amount of stress or something involved in whatever this period of winter was. So like I said, it could have just been harsh. I don't know what that looks like for each of you, so take that as it resonates. But I do feel like the seasons here are changing, and there is like that level of like maturing and things growing and coming out of a situation and like learning a lot from it. And I kind of feel called with this group to really talk about discipline in restriction. And so we don't want to restrict too much, because if you are too restrictive, then it is again unhealthy. There's like that whole thing of everything in moderation, so not too much and never not at all. But discipline, this group, I feel like it kind of touches on that thing of like, if you have a day where you have nothing on, instead of like just doing nothing for the entire day, because I feel like for some of you, you kind of need just something. Do that once, keep one small job for you to do on that day, just so you have one small job every day, and then just have an easy day for the rest of the day. But that discipline, it's like going to be key, it's going to be helpful, it's going to keep you on track, and I think it's going to put some really fundamental blocks in place for you for your future going forward. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else that I need here. I don't see if there's like any oracle cards or anything that I feel might be helpful. Oh yeah, okay, one of these. Let's see. Some of you, I do get there could be people here where you're trying to juggle relationships, but it's like, again, that terms of like priority, and it's not like, I don't know how to explain it. Some of you could be like trying to juggle like a parent versus like a parent. I mean, it could be, but I was going to say like a partner versus like a child aspect, and others of you could be trying to juggle like a partner versus like a boss at work or something, where there could be some sort of like conflicting priorities there, and that in itself could be one of those things that kind of throws things out. But some of you, it could be that like juggling priorities in terms of parenting, how you parent and how what you bring into the home and things like that. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll touch on it and leave it there. And so we actually have number 15. We have number 2. Yeah. Your inner light will guide you. I think this group, if you really took the time, I think you already know. I don't think you need me or anyone else to tell you, but it's just, sometimes it's helpful to have that point of reference. Let's get you back on track and let's go. And, I do feel kind of called to touch on like, if I'm ever like too much in my head, or like not really feeling great, or feeling overwhelmed, or things are all over the place, or I don't really know what to do or where to turn or something like that, and I know it's not the same for everybody, and you might have your own version of what is the same level of impact and meaning for you and help, but if I ever feel too out of touch, I need to go and like, I know I haven't done my yoga for that day, right? And I mean it, like it is really powerful to me. I don't know, I like all different types of yoga. I've never really looked into any one particular type, although I do like the Ayurvedic yoga, where you can kind of like look up your dosha and kind of hone in on that, and I have found it tremendously helpful. I always feel more grounded, more present, more mindful, more like connected to my body, and I usually don't feel as bad either. Like, yeah, I don't know, that might be helpful for some of you. And like I said, it doesn't have to be yoga, it could be anything. I don't know. So it's like getting in touch, in connection with your physical body, and it's not just doing a mindless chore where you're like on autopilot or blanking it out or like head up in the clouds. It's the point of being there and doing the thing, okay? So whatever that looks like for you, it's like getting in your body. But anyway, that's everything that I have for you today, group 1. Hopefully this is helpful to you. But like, I don't know, I feel like, we asked the question of like, what are you working for? That was the whole point of this video. And so I know sometimes like spirit will try to kind of like, they just throw out whatever the most important like messages are to us at the time. So what are you working for? I feel like you're working for that peace and stability and that routine and that structure and that health and well-being. Maybe you're just trying to work for balance. You're just trying to like keep things in check, afloat, like, you know, that's, yeah, I don't know. Some of you, it could be like I said, like a work thing, and just like a balance of relationships and stuff. It's just the ebb and flow. And I think as long as you know that you just like embrace it as time goes on, and embracing where you're at and doing the best that you can, and just being a little bit disciplined with it all. I think this group knows though. I think you, yeah. Okay, your inner light will guide you. Yeah, you've already got it. Okay, thanks group one. Hopefully this is helpful to you all, and I'll see you all in another reading. Jeeps. Okay. Oh man. Okay, welcome group 2. If you chose the strawberry lip balm or the Right Away deck, then this will be your reading for today on what it is that you work for. So before we like get too much into it, I just want to say our first card here that we have is the Devil in, is it in reverse? No. Okay, so we have the Devil. It's not in reverse, but I've just like turned it upside down because I'm trying to be aware of like the different things that YouTube censors. Or sorry, like, I don't know, not being censored, but like demonetized over and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so they don't like it. And I was getting something even before I started the reading today, and they specifically said it was like for group 2 that there's something to do with code switching here. And I know that code switching can be like unequivocal, is that, I don't know, some of it can be like really detrimental or really helpful in terms of like survival when navigating, I don't know, like a community that you're not used to, or living in a different place to what you're used to, or who you're kind of subscribing to and who you are separating yourself out from, or just the ability to ascertain help or understanding or empathy from other people. So there could be like, I don't know what this really is, but I'll just kind of point out some of the themes that I'm getting, and we'll just move through it as we go. But there could be people that kind of weaponize that code switching, but for others of you, it's like a real call to like step up your code switching game, because it's like, just, I don't know, we're just gonna, some of you might think about it too much. There can be like a negative effect if there's, I don't know, I feel like there has to be a level of code switching which is kind of subconscious, at least we don't always recognize, or we're not always self-aware, and it's just like, I don't know, I don't even know if all of you really understand what code switching is, like a social kind of code switching. So how you present yourself, how you speak, the body language that you use, the tone of voice that you use, the things that you say, whether you use slang, whether you speak clearly, the point of view in which you convey through your communication with another person. And it can be the difference between you're one of us and we take care of you and I see you because I experience the same struggles, or you're a well-rounded person because we don't let that BS get to us, versus being a flat affected person. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but it's like being yourself. Maybe you are a person that like speaks very clearly, or you try to speak properly, or you like don't buy into engagement with people that doesn't seem authentic to you. So if you're like not in that crazy bubbly mood, you're not going to appease people and turn and kind of like play into that, but you're just going to be yourself. But like maybe you can still be polite, or you can still be kind of happy just to engage with that person. No, for some people I feel like it could be like something to do with mirroring as well. It's like some people are not willing to mirror or not willing to engage in that way anymore. And so there could be like a real conundrum that some of you are experiencing in deciding what that is. It's like you're not happy with it. It hasn't served you well. You're trying to work out what would be like a better way moving forward. For some of you, it could have actually got you, like it could have attracted or brought in people that, I don't know, it's like you mirrored so much, or you just like code switch so well to a point that like you fell in with groups that were not really good for you, or were not really like-minded or the same, or you didn't align in some way. And so it's like if you had have been more of your authentic self and you weren't so quick to kind of, I don't even feel like this group's manipulative. I don't think that's the case at all, even though there could be people that use this, like that's exactly what some people do, is use this type of stuff to be manipulative, but I don't think this group is that way. I feel like it's just a case of like, some people it's people pleasing, some people it's like, I don't know, you just, what is it? Are you scared of being rejected? You don't want to like not fit in, you don't want to not be a part of the group, you don't want to experience that point of separation, and which like I totally get too, because it can be unnerving at times to be considered like the odd one out or a bit different or something like that. But there are different times in our life in which it's kind of crucial and very helpful to maintain that point of separation. And it's not that we should put distance in with other people necessarily. Like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe for some of you it is like using code switching as a point of putting in, a point of separation. I keep getting a point of separation being like a theme that's come up over the last few weeks or last month or two, I can't remember, in some of the readings. And so actually during group one, we had mention about a point of separation, and that group two could potentially have more messages for group one. So if group one was a group that, you know, you did feel drawn to, but you didn't choose to go with it, or you felt like you needed to watch two, or you still had that niggling feeling that maybe there was something there, maybe go check it out and just see if there is something there for you. Although I'm sure it's different messages, that point of separation theme seems to be important. So there could be something like, I don't know, in terms of like energies or like collective energies or astrological transits or something, where a point of separation is, I don't know, maybe it's just the collective that I'm kind of like vibing with at this point. I'm not sure. Anyway, so it was like, whatever this was, I don't think it kind of, I feel like it may have somehow led you to kind of fall in cahoots with people that are not really your people in the sense of like your authenticity. And it may have left you feeling kind of like, I don't know if I want to say unsettled. For some of you, it's like a comfort zone, because it's like the only thing you've ever known, but you're not really happy being there, but it's not really fulfilling you. It doesn't really bring you joy. And maybe you still feel that point of separation, or you kind of feel alone, even if you're surrounded by people. I don't know what it is. Some of you just like, there has to be more to life than this, right? And so it's like that kind of thinking about like, what can we do to take the next steps forward so that we don't wind up in this position where I just feel like I'm giving all my energy away to things that are not really that good for me, or they're not filling my cup. If anything, they end up being detrimental, leaving me in this place of like that familiar comfort zone that kind of takes from me. I don't really know. Like, are they, I don't know. I feel like, do you just have people that are like offering you a cup, but the cup's like kind of like a half, I don't know, I wanted to say half empty cup, but maybe there's not a lot left in the cup at all. And they're just like, yeah, I have my cup, but it's an empty cup, and I don't know. And it just makes you think about like what you sort of need or want that cup to look like, or what you want it to be in it, or I don't know. Like this group could actually look towards some type of like manifestation. But I want to say, if you're gonna, I don't try to actively manifest too much, because I feel like it's something that's best when your normal everyday self is just at a point of being grounded and happy and pretty free, willing to let go of things and just kind of make the best of life at the point that you can, of where you're at. And just if you recognize what you want, but you're content even without it, and whether you receive it or not doesn't mean that you'll not have a good life. And so you can kind of continue on that path of making the best out of it, and then maybe one day it pops up, and if by chance it does, again, you'll make the best out of it, or the most of that situation. So for some of you, this could be like a call to actually check yourself or your energy that you're in, and actually set some time aside to kind of visualize the things that you want in life, and then practice the art of letting go of whatever it is. Like, maybe I'm not that happy with it, but maybe this is just what it is, and that's doesn't matter if it, like, maybe, I don't know, what is it? Like, maybe some of you are not wanting to walk away from your situation because you are finding yourselves in that comfort zone. And so it's like, maybe for some of you it is like all you've ever known, or it's just so comfortable, or it's that familiar. I keep going back to that like familiar comfort. Yeah, it's like some of you don't want to walk away. I don't know. For some of you, it's like if you did walk away, you can't imagine life being very joyous or fulfilling, or maybe you know that if you walk away you won't have support. And it's pretty likely that you would end up burnt out in some capacity. So I'm not really sure. But it's going to take a second. I'm just going to use a little bit of the copal, or copal. I don't know how you pronounce it. Hopefully that's right. Copal. Anyway, mate, it's brutal when it's hectic. Okay. What is it that is working for you? What is it that you are working for? What is it that you are working for? I'm not sure what it is that you're doing, because I don't feel like you're very happy where you are. And if you are happy, you might not have a lot of energy or something. It seems to be like a point of stagnation, but it's like not willing to kind of leave it. Not willing to, I don't know, that point of separation. It keeps, I don't know, like, do you feel like you're at a point of separation, or you need that point of separation? Or there's like something in that code switching that it's like you've separated yourself out from your, counterparts that are authentic because you were doing the code switching? Or is it like the opposite, where it's like you didn't do it enough? I don't, that's weird. That's such a weird message. Like, maybe some of you are confused about how you communicate with people and how you're received. And it's like that code, it's like you're not really there's something about the type of code switching in the area that you're in that you don't understand. So it's like you're giving off one signal when that's not really like what you want to portray to people, or what you, maybe not portray, is probably a poor choice in wording, but like communicate. So it's like you're not effectively communicating something to people to actually bring in the authentic people, because there's something with your code switching that doesn't match the area that you're in, and you just probably don't realize because you didn't grow up in the area that you live in, or something like that. Or maybe you're around a different group of people. It could be like a cultural difference or something. It doesn't have to be. You might only live like an hour away, but the mentalities of the people and the figure of speech and everything's a little bit different, or a little bit off. And like even just pronouncing words differently. So like, my favorite, I say tarot, and tarot, it's like, it's such like a a bogan sounding word to me in that Australian accent. It sounds like I'm trying to say yarrow, but like tarot. But then it's like, I think the proper pronunciation is actually tarot. And it's just so unnatural to me to say that. And so it's like, you know, you could walk into an area where people are a little bit more relaxed and they're not so concerned with that formalities. And if you are kind of speaking very well, you can come off like you are very self-important, or that you know, taking yourself a bit too seriously, or you're not like humble, or there's like a lack of modesty or honesty, or, you know, being genuine or something like that. Whereas, you know, you can go into a totally different environment where if you're actually not speaking very plainly and very clear, then it's like you can be seen to potentially be like uneducated or unintelligent, or like you just cannot do things you cannot communicate to the proper effect that we were, you know, education does teach us. There's like almost like a lack of skill or something. And it's, none of these things have to be true. You can be the same person with the same level of intelligence, with the same level of, I don't know, social class and things like that. And you can effectively code switch between areas. You know, you're signaling like, hey, I'm a safe person, I'm not like a threat. And hey, I'm a person who just wants to get this thing done. Or I don't know what it is. Like maybe the different areas of your life are getting mixed up with your code switching. So like for some of you, if you were like a school teacher or something, you might need to kind of like code switch to, hey, I'm a safe, nurturing person, and I'm like looking after kids. Maybe you talk to kids most of the day. And so it's like when you do have to talk to like like a fellow teacher, like a work colleague or someone else at the school, it's like you're not effectively code switching between talking to the children versus talking to your fellow work colleague who's also a teacher, who's also an adult, not a child. So it doesn't have to be like a cultural or area specific thing, the code switching that, I don't know, there's like a disconnect. And all right, so now what is it that you're working for? I don't know. For some of you, I'm wondering if there's like a lack of meaning in what it is that you do. Some of you could be like workaholics or something, so it's just like you're too far, your head is down, buried, and you're so far into what you're doing that like you're not taking the time to like look up from what you're doing and actually see what's around you and what's happening and what would be effective and whatnot. Whereas others of you, it's like you're lacking that the meaning in life that brings that enthusiasm and that gratefulness in which you actually put your best foot forward and things like that. For others of you, there is that like point of, I don't know, some of you, I just feel like you might be mentally exhausted. I don't know. Some of you might feel trapped to like your, I don't know, just the trappings of modern society. I don't really know what that is. But it's like, I don't feel like you guys, this group has walked away from something. I feel like you're on the periphery. It's like you haven't walked away, or you're considering walking away, or you refuse to walk away, when that might be your next step. I don't know. I feel like I need clarifying cards for this group because it's just, it feels stagnant and I don't know where to go with it. And that's probably how this group feels. Maybe it's not even a case that you refuse to, you just don't know. You're like, maybe thinking about it too much and I don't know. All right, so we have Page of Wands. Oh yeah, so that's working toward, that's like kind of knowing what you want, or like heading out. Maybe, I don't know, do they know what they want? Maybe that's the thing. It's like coming back to that, not knowing what you want, but like happy enough to like get out there and give it a go, or find something along the way. And just kind of like balancing like your priorities as you go. But it's like you're heading for it straight on. Like you're gonna, whatever this is that you're doing, that you're thinking of, that you're moving towards, it's like forward movement only, and you know, facing it head on. If you're not going to face it head on, it's like not going to happen or something. I don't know, or it's not going to be effective, or it's not going to be what you want it to be. And it might feel like, I don't know, have you guys been carrying a very heavy load and things not been working out for like the time and investment and energy and effort put into it, and it's just like is this ever actually going to be what I wanted it to be? Is this ever going to actually pay off? Is this ever going to give back? Is this ever going to be more than just me just being the workhorse for whatever this is? So for some of you, it's like your level of contribution. I don't think that's even it. Maybe that's how you feel. Some of you have a lot of responsibilities. Some of you, excuse me, I don't know, some of you are feeling burned by your situation. Some of you are doing things in a way that's kind of ineffective. Some of you don't realize that what you're doing is actually just going to take time. Like, it's just, there's no way around it. It's just going to take time. I don't know. And when I say that, I feel like I'm at a point of like, I don't know what to tell you, but also it's like a reference for a point of acceptance. But what I'm seeing here, you don't need to accept your situation. Maybe you're telling yourself that you need to accept your situation, but you won't. It's like that familiar comfort zone that's almost like not good. Not almost, it is not good, because we've got the devil there, which can be toxic situations and feeling trapped and, I don't know, negativity and just, I don't know, attachments. Like, I don't know, for some of you, I wonder if it's like a codependency or some sort of relationship that's like not fulfilling in the way that it used to be, or you just feel more in your comfort zone staying with that person, even if it's not really like good and hasn't been for a long time. I don't know. Okay, what is it that pile 2 is working for? Yeah, it's like you want that stability. It's like I wanna say that it's stability and security financially, and like, wealth and like material assets, and just like knowing that if you need to go to the doctors, you can afford to go to the doctors. Knowing that if in 2 weeks' time after going to the doctors you need surgery, you've got a couple grand there that you can just pay for the surgery straight away and you don't have to wait. And I feel like that sort of stuff's pretty important to this group. You could have heavy Taurus, although there is like a lot of homely aspects. So like we do have Cancer as well. Cancer can be quite homely, or like, taking care of family independence and things like that. But I think, and then we've got Capricorn as well. So there could just be strong earth. I don't know, strong earth and water, or like fixed signs or earth, because I even kind of get like a little bit of like Scorpio vibe, but maybe not so much. I don't know, some of you guys like pets, and I don't know if you have pets already or not, but like maybe you need more pets, or maybe you like just need to, I don't know, I feel like you guys have pets, but like you might want more pets. So like, maybe you already have like 2 pets, but you want like 4 or 5. Maybe this group, you need to go breed some animals and sell them or something, like in a an ethical and sustainable way that's good for everybody, right? But like, maybe that's a hobby and it's something you can really pour into, and it gives you a lot of joy, and it kind of like helps. I don't know. I can't help but ask the question, is it just distraction for you, or is it like giving you something to continue to work towards? Did you just really like working? And then I know that that's kind of sarcastic and kind of offbeat for some of you, because you're like, of course, I just want to work more. Like, does anyone even want to go to the one job that they do have, versus just survive? But like, it's like, if you want these trappings of security and stability in such a, I don't know, I just feel like that's what comes first for this group, and there's no judgment on that. But if you want that, it's like you've got to kind of make it yours in a way that you do enjoy it and get something out of it, or it is fulfilling to you, or it is helpful, or it kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what this is, hey? What is it that you're working for? Is it the other way around? Is it like you're working for all these things and you've like got all these animals and you've got this cool, I don't know, like you've got a house and you've got like your partner and you've kind of got a few staples things around you in your life that like are really good and helpful and practical, and they just, maybe things are kind of smooth and stuff, but it's still not what you want. Maybe you don't feel happy. I actually wonder if this group might be a bit depressed. Are you depressed? I don't know. Maybe you feel the burden or the weight of carrying of all of this. Maybe you like want these things, but then you realize on the back end of like what it kind of costs you to keep up with it all. And maybe some of you could actually, you could really benefit from letting go of some of this stuff, or like a state of minimalism. And you don't have, like, don't do anything you don't want to do, okay? First of all, don't do anything you don't want to do. Don't get rid of sentimental things. Don't get, like, you know, things that mean a lot to you. Don't get rid of your expensive things or your big ticket things or anything like that. But if you've got like a junk drawer and there's old stuff laying around in it that you don't need, go tip out your junk drawer. Like, you mean, maybe there's like, if you feel bad about like the environment or the money spent, or like, I don't know, like just, you know, landfill and things like that, or not making the most out of it, maybe what you could do is like find like giveaway groups on Facebook, because if there are things in good condition, there are other people that likely would appreciate it or make the most of it, that maybe can't afford it, or it's just a good way to like upcycle things. And not, obviously not everything's going to be in that condition, right? So there's a point of, if it is not, if you wouldn't give it to a friend, maybe just like put it in the bin, right? And just get rid of it, but like be done with it. But you might be able to sell some stuff too, like secondhand. And that might help kind of free up some of that like stagnant energy. It's like you guys are just keeping pockets of stagnancy, and like that junk drawer that has like old SD cards that are still in a packet that have never been used. Maybe, I don't know how much they go for, probably not a lot now, but like maybe they would be a good giveaway item, right? But maybe if it was like a good quality old camera that you haven't used in 3 years, you could sell it and still get like $150 or $200, and maybe that would be worth that like little bit of messaging people on like a marketplace of some kind. You know, dealing with people that you don't want to, like, I feel like this group, I don't know if you guys stay at home a lot, or if you're homebodies, or if you don't like dealing with people, or it's just like you don't like dealing with people outside your comfort zone or outside your, wherever it is that you generally tend to frequent, exist, or like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, outside of your comfort zone. Might be outside of your comfort zone to go through and clear out clutter. It might be outside of your comfort zone to like put things up on Facebook or whatever, you know, platform that you use to kind of sell things or give things away. It might be outside your comfort zone. This group, you could be, I don't know if you're introverted or homebodies, or you're a little bit shy, or you're just that comfort zone thing, right? Maybe it's outside your comfort zone to get a whole bunch of old things that are no good to anyone, to actually take them to the dump, because you don't know how to navigate it because you haven't done it before. It's like, I kind of get the feeling of like, now is the time to like let go and just learn and just like embrace that, like, yeah, I've never done it before, but what's the worst that could happen? I'm a human. I'm gonna like figure it out, and you know, that doesn't matter. And like, it's, I wonder if some of you are like have living in a level of fear of judgment or fear of perception of others, or like you just, it's uncomfortable to you, and I get it, you don't want to do it, but it's like holding you back. And at what point are you going to claim the life that is yours? Yeah. Okay, that is the one we were looking for. At what point are you going to claim the life that is yours? So what are you working for? What is it that group 2 is working for? I wonder if some of you could retire. I don't know, maybe not. I don't want to encourage people to put themselves in like financial detrimental areas, right? So like, you know, this is my number one thing with these readings. I'm a random person on the internet. I do not know your situation, and I am not accredited in any position to tell you what to do, okay? This is a message that is coming through. Use your own discernment, and if anything, it could be confirmation on something that you already have a deep inner knowing for, even if it is not at the forefront of your mind, but you ultimately need to make the decisions in which, like, you know, these real life things that are affecting you are going to play out, okay? And so I feel like Spirit is encouraging you to take ownership of your life and let go of the things that don't serve you, and kind of embrace that unfamiliar territory that can leave you feeling a little bit awkward, or, you know, out of your norm, or maybe talking to the people that you're not used to talking to is uncomfortable, but you can do it, okay? It's like, I think Spirit wants you to like build your confidence in some way. So yeah, okay. Do we want green? Green? Yeah, okay. This group, you could like plants. You might not, but I feel like I've got at least one person in mind who really likes plants. That's too many plants. Maybe some of you like too many plants. Who doesn't? Okay. There we go. Oh, we've got 2 cards. Okay, the Restorers and Burdock. So greenery could be good for you, but I actually want to read from the book. Do we want to read from the book? Oh, maybe not. Maybe we'll see. I think some of you might get slightly intimidated by how other people navigate the world, but it's only, you've got to remember, it's from that position of kind of being tucked away and not really, you just haven't been out and about and in amongst it. And I think that when you do that, yeah, you'll feel awkward and out of place. But when you do that, you know, it's like that rediscovering the world and yourself, and you know, just, we're all not good at things when we first start out, and maybe that for you, some of you, is like that main thing keeping you not wanting to do it. But like when we were a child and we learned to ride a bike, we're not just good at it the first time we do it. I don't know, maybe some of you were. Maybe that's why you're kind of in this position, because you're like, things naturally come easy to you and this one thing makes you feel weird. I don't know. But I do feel like some of you have just been tucked away and too comfortable doing the same thing day in, day out, and you haven't done something different enough in a while to know that if you just get out there and you do it a couple times, you'll build that confidence the same way the other people have too, and you'll actually it's just getting out there and amongst it. And yeah. Okay. I'm getting something about like the poisons that eat us from the inside out. So I actually do want to read. Some of you may not be eating healthy food, or for some of you, it could be like a mental, emotional, or that routine thing. Maybe some of you are like holding on to that like negative emotions or stagnancy or fear or something like that, that is really actually starting to affect your physical health. I don't know. So let's see if we can find some. I'm not going to read the Restorers card because I feel like that message is pretty clear, but I want to read, although there could be a calling for some of you to like work with like edible and herbal plants, whether that's in terms of cooking with like fresh herbs or something. I don't know, you choose. But we're going to look at burdock, so that's fine. Okay, yeah. Harvest, purification, attachment, the outcast, scapegoating, and blame. Burdock is a biennial thistle that grows in most of Europe, North America, and Asia. Reaching a height of about 120 centimeters or 4 foot, it has large, rough, oval leaves and purple flowers that bloom between July and September. So it's, yeah. Its distinctive feature is it bears prickly seed heads that appear once the plant has flowered. The burrs, a miracle of natural design, inspired the Swiss inventor George de Mestral, who copied their tiny hooks and loops to create Velcro. The card shows greater burdock during the time between the 2 Druid festivals. I don't know how I pronounce this, so just like take it as you will. It's like Lugnasad on 1st of August, which marks the start of the harvest season, and Alban Elford at the autumn equinox on 21st to 22nd of September. Some of you could be born over, is it equinox? I don't know. Could be born over that like 21st to 22nd of September. So yeah, that's cool. Which marks its end. So beside it grows a dandelion, a plant with many similar properties to burdock, which has once combined with it to create a popular soft drink and a potent wine. Dandelion was used by the physicians of Midvi and was almost certainly used by the ancient Druids as both food and medicine. If you have chosen this card, it may mean that enough is enough and that you need to consider freeing yourself of an influence or a habit that is no longer serving you and which has now become toxic. Treat this as a process of harvesting and separate the wheat from the chaff. Recognize that even the most negative experiences offer valuable learning, and see if you can extract this learning so that you can move on to a new phase of life. The burdock propagates widely, because its burrs easily attach themselves to the fur of passing animals and hitch a ride far from home, the ease and simplicity of their attachment offers the perfect image of the way in which we can sometimes, with minimum effort, be carried into new territory in our lives. If this occurs unconsciously, we can find ourselves in difficulty. But if we attach ourselves with awareness and with a light touch to ideas, projects, and people whom we trust, we can achieve far more than if we remained isolated. I am so grateful that when that happens, like when we, you know, kind of have a message intuitively coming through, and then we get something like in writing from the cards that kind of follow up as like that confirmation, just reiterating that message. So if that didn't neatly tie it up for you, I don't know what will. Group 2, it was a pleasure to have you here. Take care of yourselves. Do what you can to kind of work towards like freeing up some of that energy and letting go of things. And I don't know, it's like stepping into that authenticity, but like something that brings you enthusiasm that you look forward to, and that might help kind of bolster letting go of these things that are no longer serving you, or that have kind of turned toxic or just become all too familiar and comfortable, in which you don't feel free enough or confident enough to step outside of, you know, that comfort safety zone, so that you can kind of embark on new learnings and journeys and passions. So whatever that looks like for you, I hope that this resonated. Please only take what resonates and don't make anything fit, and enjoy. Most of all, just enjoy the process. Good luck. I'll see you all in another one. Okay, welcome group 3. If you chose the watermelon lip balm and the pagan tarot, then this will be your reading for what it is that you're working for. This one, okay. So we've got something coming in really quick that could really change it up. I don't know, I felt like I wanted to say life-changing, although I know for some of you that's not necessarily the case, but I feel like it would have a great impact even if it's not life-changing in a way that you perceive it should be. And your perception of it could have something to do with the way that it is received and that it comes in. And so there's like a calling for you to just remain grounded. Like, I'm kind of saying that whenever this thing is that comes in, whether it's perceived as negative or positive, or if it gets you kind of like flustered, or it's whatever it is, I don't know. For some of you, it could be like a perceived problem. I don't know. I feel like I'm not explaining this well. There could be a lot of heat, and that heat could be in terms of passion, like someone wanting to have words with you. I don't really know what that looks like. There is a lady here who could be receiving a big bill that they're not ready for, and it could kind of rock them a little bit. So it's like Spirit's asking you to, even when things are most up in the air, or there is a lot of perceived change, or, you know, things coming at you that are a little like, someone's bringing the heat to you, make sure that you are grounded. Stick to your routines, ground yourself where you can. Like, take time to just like know yourself and know what you think and feel of the situation. So, and kind of trying to be level-headed about the reality of a situation and the facts. If at all you are ever unsure of how you feel and whether you are right or wrong about a situation, or whether other people are right or wrong, because it can be easy to get drawn into all that, like the feelings and the passion and like the defensiveness and whatever, ego and I don't know, all that stuff. Doesn't matter how you look at it. It's like, come back to the facts. What happened? What did not happen? And just go with that, okay? The what happened, what did not happen, the objectivity of what happened and what did not happen, okay? And that's all that matters, all right? So if someone's going to ask you, did you have a fallout with this person? Do you really need to go into, and they made me feel this way and I wasn't sure, so I did this. Maybe you can just stick to, I said this person pulled away, or this person said this thing, and that was kind of it. And then since then, that's been it. I don't, it doesn't matter, like, I don't know. And I feel like it's not to minimize, it's not to reduce it, it's not to take away validation in any means, but it's to remain like neutral. I don't know if that's right. It's like to just tell the facts, to communicate the facts. So it's like, you know, the facts, and then the facts are being communicated. It's like, I don't know. Hopefully that's helpful or meaningful to someone here. All right, so we're remaining grounded. We're sticking to like the routines and the things that are good for us and that we know are like, you know, practical and helpful, and just kind of like get us to the point of like what matters. Maybe some of us, it's like what keeps us humble. But I don't know, like what gives us good roots, what gives us stability in life, what makes the merry go round. I don't know if what I'm saying is really right there, but sometimes it's keep to. I can't speak at all. Sometimes the channeling can be tricky. Okay, anyway. Now, for some of you, it's like, whatever some of you, this like could have already happened, and there was like some sort of situation where whatever that perceived heat was that came your way, pushed you back into having to step back to that like objective place. And then you kind of made your decision from there to move on or away from whatever that heat was. Yeah. And for some of you, I don't know. For some of you, I feel like you're just declaring to the world and to the universe, I do not want the stress that this invokes upon my life, and so I will not accept it. Yeah, I don't know. And that when you kind of have that, and you've got the truth of it at heart, right? If you're being objective, you've got the truth of it, the situation at heart, the rest doesn't matter, okay? And so it's like you are stepping into being in charge of your own life and your own personhood, and what rocks you and what doesn't. And if you let your emotions get the better of you and you get all fired up, or let things get under your skin or work you up or whatever it is, then it's like anyone can have control. You hand control over to people when you let them rock you too easily, okay? So it's like being that, I don't know, I was sort of getting like forced to be reckoned with, but it's not really about like, you know, having it over someone or arguing with someone or anything like that. It's more about like being unshakable. That's what I want to say. Being unshakable in who you are and what will rock you and what won't rock you, and being firm in the position that you stand in, and that's it. Being firm in your sense of self and not letting others kind of take away from that. Okay, or their opinions, or the heat that they bring, whatever that looks like. Some of you, this whole situation, whatever it was that originally came in, yeah, it could have caused a lot of stress, anxiety. I don't know, maybe it just like made you get in your head a little bit too much thinking about it, or trying to like work out what the truth of the situation was. But I feel like you've actually overcome that between you like being grounded and keeping it objective, and, you know, focusing on like the reality of what did and didn't happen and stuff, and just making that choice to kind of protect your peace and the truth and just move on. That in itself, I feel like its spirit is wanting to affirm or reaffirm or confirm that that was like a really good move for you on your behalf. It was like, I don't know, I wonder if it just gave you the most successful outcome you could have possibly had in this situation, because maybe you weren't really left with a lot of choice. It was just like, here's your cards, do with them what you will, but that's your cards, and you don't get to give them away, you don't get to put them down, you don't get to like, I don't know, give them back, you know. I don't know. For some of you, it could have solidified, I don't know, it's weird because I'm sort of getting like a notoriety here, but it doesn't really, this reading is not about notoriety, okay? It's kind of like the overcoming of an obstacle. That's what it is, right? So I feel like for a lot of you, being objective, making that choice, it was a good choice, and you overcome adversity successfully, Yeah, that's it. Okay, it doesn't matter what other people think, and maybe some people are going to try to say that you did do it for like notoriety or clout, and it's not about that. So just, again, with that fire, leave that with the fire that you left behind, right? Leave that to the wayside. I just keep hearing or getting like, not my circus, not my monkey, not my monkey, not my circus. I don't know, whatever that saying is. And so for some of you, like, even though you did overcome it and you were successful overcoming whatever this challenge or situation was, it could have left you on the outer, or it could leave you feeling like you're on the outer. So I don't know, but for some of you, actually, it might not have had anything to do with that particular situation. Maybe the adversity that you were thrown with, like it could, for some of you, whatever this situation was that, you know, was filled with adversity that you chose to move on from and take control of your life, and you were successful overcoming whatever that was. For some of you, it did leave you just facing a different type of adversity, and for others of you, you kind of had like a different type of adversity come in at the same time as you had just overcome one. So it's kind of like going up and down one challenge to the next or something like that. Or for some of you, maybe you had a fallout with a person that like kind of helped you in some way, and now that help's not there, or vice versa, or I don't know, whatever that is. You'll know what your situation is. I'm not here to tell you that. Okay, but even though like you were perceived to be on the outer in some way, or maybe you left someone else on the outer, I see you regrouping, regathering, getting really strong. For some of you, if like health or stress or worries or anything like that was an issue, it's like, or even just like feeling unbalanced, like maybe some of you were just like a little bit too much in your head. I feel like all that levels out and you're getting good within yourself. Some of you almost come into like a glow up energy, or like a time of blooming in your life. And it's really beautiful, and it's probably like the best that you've ever been. And I don't feel right about saying that, but I'm trying to think of how I could better convey it. So some of you may be at an age in which you don't believe yourself to be the best that you've ever been, maybe because you're attributing it to like a physical expression or something. But it's like, in terms of your personhood or who you show up as in the world, and your stability, and how adept you are and capable you are, and the capacity that you have. And I actually do think, though, like the physical thing, I don't want to say that like people weren't still not bad looking when they were younger or anything, but it's like you might have really stepped into your prime by leaving that other stuff behind. It's like you're not being sweated by it, and because of that, you've got this energy for yourself that you put into you and your health and your well-being, and that's kind of like what it comes down to. So it's like a little bit tied in with physical, also not, but like the coming together of it is like you and your personhood being great. So it's like you are in a time of prime in your life, whether, I don't know, I feel weird saying that, because if you're like have some terrible disease or something watching this, pick a card, maybe this group's not for you, I don't know, or maybe it is, but maybe there's something else about you that's maybe not to do with like health as per se, but like other beautiful aspects or peace or serenity or something. Maybe you're like able to enjoy this stage of life, no matter what it looks like, whether it's like perceived good or bad or hard or not. There's something about it that gives you peace or independence or freedom or serenity, or the ability to do little novel things that you kind of enjoy. And maybe that's what really counts. Some of you get to dress the way you like. Some of you get the ability to exercise without children. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. So now that we've done that, so it was like, what are you working for? I feel like this group is working for that, that peace and serenity, and that kind of, that groundedness, or that like, I don't know. All right, let's see what other cards we got. I'm going to take one more. Oh yeah, that would be a good one for this group. Okay. Lots of like plant focus today. So for some of you might like to garden, or gardening could be helpful too. Or that might be something that when you get back into that more healthy, I don't know, it's not fulfill, but that healthy energy where you find yourself in a better position, security or peaceful. You might have more time for those things that you like in life, whether it's gardening or not. But I do feel there is a lady here who has some like really beautiful plants next to her. She does have some roses. I keep getting roses the last couple of readings. So I do have a friend that really likes roses, and I'm kind of wondering if you're here in these readings. So if you are, hello. I feel like you know who you are. There's also like a couple of cats there. So like, it doesn't necessarily have to be relevant to cats. Could just be pets. But yeah, I don't know, it's weird. Like, point of separation, pets and gardening have all been themes that have been coming through in today's readings, so in today's groups. This one, okay. Be yourself, Daisy. Yeah. Yeah. Taking charge of your life, what it looks like, being yourself, embracing it. Oh yeah, see yourself. Okay, cool. That was good. It's kind of like a segue to another oracle deck. But it's also like more plants, more gardening, more flowers. So some of you, even if you don't particularly like roses, you might just like flowers or something. I don't know. So maybe that's, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we have awareness, security, search, and learning. I feel the need to say to this group, don't beat yourself up for any past situations that have happened, even if you did feel like you were foolish or unaware. You're aware now, and that's what matters, okay? So, but there's also that insecurity coming up again that we kind of, so for some of you, like, when you felt like you had to like leave that situation or that place, or you might have found yourself in positions where you felt on the outside or something like that, that's that kind of insecurity or that lack of safety. Even if it was just emotional safety, it's hard to say, but we've also got that like search and the learning. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, if you're unsure how you're going on your search, like, and I'm, you know, a lot of you may still be in your search, but you've already taken the first step in taking control of yourself and like making your life yours, even if it's leaving you feeling lost. Yeah, lots of love for you, group 3. You can do it. Okay, and like maybe for some of you, you just don't know that you can, and that's all it really comes down to, okay? You might feel rejected during this time, and it is, even if you feel rejected, it's like accepting where you're at and just being yourself anyway, and it doesn't matter about other people. It's like, it's you. They don't matter. And I don't mean that we should disregard really like, you know, important relationships or people in our life. But when it really comes down to it, if you've had to leave people behind, or there's like an extended group of people that are like talking smack, or just people, just their values don't align, or like people are not really who they say they are, or there's something, I feel like if someone's trying to throw the heat at you and it's not very factual and it's all like being blown up to be something it's not, or things being taken out of context, or there's like, I don't know, some people just can't help themselves. Leave them in the dust. You don't have to. You just don't have to. You don't, yeah. Okay. Again, big hugs to you guys. It's just part of the process. It's just part of your becoming. Even if you don't really quite feel like you're able to be yourself or embrace yourself at this point in time, I feel like you're well and truly on your way there. And even if you feel like you have been embracing yourself for a while and you are feeling rejected, there is that part of accepting that, like, it's that what is it? Rejection is like divine protection, and that it will steer clear. I have to kind of say, for some of you, I feel like it's a bit deeper than that. Maybe you've been feeling like this for a while. And so for some of you, maybe called to seek some type of therapy that is, I don't know, like the plants are therapy, right? Pets are therapy. I don't know, whatever the things are in your life that can give you that grounded sense of peace and stability. For some of you, like some sort of therapy, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's like a talk therapy, an energy therapy, like Reiki, kinesiology, counseling, psychology. There's just a whole EMDR could be one for some of you. I don't know if people really want to do that, but I heard it has, I don't know, like really profound, tremendous results. For some of you, I feel like you are not willing to accept yourselves. You're not willing to look at some of you don't want to be confronted by whatever this is. I feel like your heart, like higher heart or upper heart chakra could be a little bit affected at this time. So that might be something you might just want to do, like a meditation. Hold your hands kind of, I don't know, was it like the middle of your chest, like above the breastbone or whatever, kind of between like your collarbones and pecs. And just sort of sit there and breathe and close your eyes. And some of you might actually, I don't know, there is like a couple things here, right? Like some of you want to take time with like companions or comfort animals or just having cuddles. Cuddles could be like really helpful, right? And doesn't cuddles do something with like oxytocin or something? It kind of like helps bring on some good hormones and stress reducers and things like that, and makes us feel more loved. And yeah, that would probably be really helpful. For some of you, maybe like doing a little bit of makeup might make you feel nice about yourself. I don't know, if you wear makeup and that's you, that's what you want to do, then yeah, do it. But I don't know, for some of you, you just need to like give yourself a hug. For others of you who are in like a deep stress or anxiety or survival state, you might want to like look up the Havening technique or something. Like maybe what you need to do is kind of like a quick grounding thing, and like, or you could literally just sit there and like tap different parts of your body bilaterally, like both hands, doesn't matter what side, just like quick tap down, pat down, just like that over your legs all the way down. I don't know, and that might help kind of like snap you back into that awareness and bring you back to a grounded point. So doing what you can to just, I want to tell this group, forget these people, but I don't know who they are to you, and that's your own decision to make. Use your discernment when you're making any decisions. Don't let a random person on the internet tell you how to live your life. We all have responsibility to exercise discernment and our sovereignty. But this is the messages that are coming through. And if hopefully it resonates for you and is helpful to you in some way. So what is it that you're working for? I feel like this group 3, you're like working for yourself, and you're getting away from this stuff, and you're doing what you can to be yourself. You're doing what you can to bring in stability and security and peace. And I think you're doing it from a heart-centered place where you're stepping into your authenticity. Some of you will find that you'll actually bring in people that are closer to what it is that you are and what you embody. And some of you are going to bring in more plants, so maybe more pets and cuddles, I don't know. But I'm getting cats again. There's, yeah, I don't know, maybe for some people rats, mice, I don't know. Alrighty, group 3, hopefully this is helpful to you all in some way. Take care of yourselves and do what you can to look after yourselves, and I'll see you all in another reading. Bye.